Safety Solutions Academy YouTube channel, and of course, my underground lair. I had a chance today to get out and fire my Glock 17 with my Trijicon RMR milled into the slide for the first time. Wanted to give you a little bit of a report as to what it is that we found when we went to the range. First of all, our goals were simple. I wanted to get acquainted with the sight, understand how it is that it worked, understand how it is that I could use it efficiently. Second of all, I wanted to make sure that I was getting the sight close to zero. I didn't spend any time bench resting the sight, getting it dead nuts on at 25 yards or anything like that. I wanted to do some research and figure out what the best way is to zero it. And when I say the best way, what is the best zero to have? That's a better way to put it. So we just tinkered around, made sure we had it reasonably on paper, and we're grouping well with it. And that was the case, there's no doubt about it. I was shooting in an indoor range, shot it at distances anywhere from 5 yards out to 25 yards, and I was very pleased with how the sight operated, how it worked. It seemed to be a pretty slick little tool. There's no doubt that it helped me with my precision. It has a very bright dot, especially indoors, 3.25 minute of angle. What that means is at 100 yards, the dot is going to cover 3.25 inches on your target. That means at 25 yards, it's going to cover about a quarter of that amount on your target, because 25 yards is 1/4 of 100 yards. So what, about 3/4 of an inch? That's one of the things that really helped us with the precision, was the small size of the dot really gave you a lot more detail of the target to look at, as opposed to a typical pair of notch and post sights that cover up the majority of your target. That was pretty nice. I liked that aspect of it. At times, I had difficulty finding the dot, especially when I picked up the gun and drove out from the high compressed ready. The dot often wasn't there. That's going to be something I'm going to have to work on and figure out how it is that I can more quickly pick up that dot in an intuitive manner. We can't use gimmicks. We need to do it in a way that's going to work efficiently. Part of that may be a result of the fact that this grip is a standard Glock grip. You folks may or may not know that I really like to modify the grips on these pistols quite a bit. I'm used to shooting a straight pistol with no hump in the backstrap. This hump is going to tip that gun up a little bit in my hand, and that may be why I had a hard time finding that dot. We'll have to find out. Eventually, this gun will be modified so that I can shoot it with that straight grip. And probably what we'll do is we'll modify another Glock 17 that I'll be carrying every day, and I'll be able to just put this slide right on top of it. So, when it comes to precision at distance, an 8-inch plate at 25 yards with this pistol and this sight combination is just a non-issue. The sight allows me to focus on what it is that I need to do with the trigger to be able to make the shot. You and I know that there's no natural thing in life that correlates to a trigger pull. It's one of those things that we have to really work hard to develop. And any disturbance in the firearm while we press that trigger to the rear, well, we know that that's going to send the shot someplace else. The combination of the dot being a 3.25 MOA dot, and the fact that no matter where I'm looking, or how I'm looking I should say, the dot is going to tell me where the shot is going to go, it takes my mind off of having to do the complex things that I normally need to do when I need to make a precision shot. Normally, I have to line up the front sight in the rear notch with equal lights on both sides, flat across the top. And then I have to maintain it that way while I press the trigger. All I have to do is pay attention to where the dot's at, make sure it's where I need it to be in the general area, or in that area of precision, that cone of deviation, and then press the trigger to the rear. I don't have to concentrate on two different things at one time. I can simply focus on the trigger pull, and I think that's going to be helpful. So when it comes to precision, there's no doubt that this is a boon. The other thing that I really like about the sight is I really like using it as a manipulation tool. There's no doubt that I'm able to very efficiently run the slide by using that sight as a tool. I have no need to be able to grip the slide, and that can be very helpful. Not only when I'm using my hand to manipulate, but also if I have to do other things to manipulate the firearm. Now this sight is built, and it's an RMR, ruggedized miniature red dot, and so it's built to stand up to that kind of abuse. We'll see what happens with it over time. So I do like being able to manipulate it like that. That may come in very handy for someone that has disability, function problems with one of their hands. That could be a real help. The other thing that's pretty neat is, as a deviation control teaching tool, the red dot sight really can help somebody to understand deviation control. Remember, we can think about deviation as the cone that's coming out of the end of the gun, and the deviation control is containing that cone to the size of our target. When it comes to iron sights, using a front post and a rear notch, you've got the complication of sight alignment and sight picture that adds to the deviation. And as soon as your sights are unaligned, we no longer understand where that shot's going to go. And deviation really is the difference between where we want our shot to go and where it will go. So, with the red dot, wherever the dot is, because it's parallax free and there's no need to align a front and a rear, all we have to worry about is sight picture and trigger press. We don't have to worry about that alignment. We know wherever we see the red dot is where the shot is going to go. It helps us to understand what our deviation is going to be when we press the trigger. Also, being able to see that dot and knowing that that's the point of impact helps the shooter to understand what their cone of deviation is going to look like. If you need to make a shot on an 8-inch plate and you see the dot wandering off the plate, you know that you need to control the deviation more. If, however, you know that you've got a 2-inch circle in the center of that plate where your dot is staying, you can relax on your deviation control and you're still going to get the precise hit that you need. So as a teaching tool, pretty neat. Now, from an efficiency standpoint, we're talking about a $500-ish sight, street price. We're talking about the cost of milling it into a slide, getting it mounted, the cost of the firearm that now is a dedicated sight. There are better tools out there to help train someone with deviation control. Whether we're looking at laser mounted on the rail, whether we're looking at something from laser light that drops into the chamber or into the end of the barrel that helps us to see that cone of deviation efficiently. Probably not the way to go, but a nice advantage now that I have this pistol. I can use it to help folks understand that. Now, understand that I am just getting into the beginnings of taking a look at this sight. I'm in no way recommending it for concealed carry or for defensive use at all. What I'm saying is I'm learning about it and we're going to continue that investigation. We've got 100 rounds to the pistol. Sight still functions properly, and you can see I am treating it in an appropriate manner for a defensive firearm. We're not going to toy around, or we're not going to treat this like a china plate. We'll continue to keep you updated as we run the RMR on the Glock 17. We're also going to be popping it off here, throwing on rifles, shotguns, and seeing how it does in those situations as well. It can be mounted right back up, which is kind of convenient. Whatever sighting system you're using to get the precision you need out of your shots, make sure you get out there and get some training with it. When you do, keep it simple. Please stay safe, and as always, have a great day.